WJBW is made possible by sausage. Stick one in your mouth.
I hear a little bit of feedback in the mic.
These charges are not mine.
Today's episode of the JB Web Show is sponsored by Ashtray.
Maybe embellishing.
All right, I'm walking down the street now. I'm walking live here on the street. I'm going to see who I can find.
I need to hear the camera.
Do you want me to do the JB Web Show? Oh, I spit on you.
You are not part of the conversation.
Do you? Do you really?
Thank you for holding, Jamie.
I'm listening.
Thank you for holding, Jamie.
Definitely a day job I don't complain about.
Gotta find out what's going on, what you're doing, what you're intending to do.
Love Shack, baby!
Juggernaut of rock action.
My baby understands that cigarettes are dangerous. The child reads avidly, backwards, in every language.
WJBW.
The electronics is so predominant that people would really prefer that.
Yes, welcome back. They do prefer that, I guess. Welcome back to WJBW. I am JB Webb, and this is the JB Webb Show. We are the Mechamorphosis from last week. Man, we had people in studio for 5 weeks running now, and this is fantastic to me. I'm so excited. And this, we wanted to kind of keep culminating and pointing and poking. And the point of what we do is that we use the power of broadcasting live on the intrawebs to bring you cool people, to let you meet and get to know them a little bit, through a simple conversation about people. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We have an excellent local legend interview to get to. And this gentleman, and I'll say before I've actually formally met him, he actually gave me music for the Circadian Cast, which I want to plug. You can do that too. It's original music submission at WJBWnetworks.com. That's the email address. Yeah, and attach a little MP3 on there, or you can put a link to where we can legally free download, virus free, and Shibba Shangashu. We'll listen to you and we'll play you on our little podcast over there, the Circadian Cast. And that's kind of how I got to know better our interview subject for today. It's a local legend interview with Bing Futch.
Yeah.
Such a great day. Such a great day. In studio, we have Mr. Bing Futch, a celebrated and loved dulcimer player around these here parts and worlds, probably international as well, we're going to find out. We're going to get into his origin. We're going to learn a little bit more about this local legend. And I thank you for being here. Welcome into the studio, Bing Futch, everyone. How you doing, buddy?
Thank you very much, JB. It's great to be here. This place is bigger than it looks.
Yeah, it's amazing. All these people can get in here. Thank you, studio audience. You slaves. No, just kidding. You're robots. You're slave robots. Okay, I'm still wrong? No? Okay. Man, that producer's harsh, huh? He keeps correcting me. Okay, no, don't say that. Don't say this. Anyway, welcome back. WJBWnetworks.com is the website you can go to figure out what we do. We do several broadcasts live on the internet out of this little humble studio. And tonight we have a very interesting and worthy, I'll say deserving, kind of character in our community, in our little world here of Orlando. It's Bing Futch. Welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you?
Oh, let me scoot the mic down. I'm doing great. I want to sit down.
Relax.
Relax a little bit, yeah. You got me amped up. You're such a legendary guy. I saw you. I think you were smoking a cigar, maybe.
Yeah.
At DeLand, and I was like, I think that was. And I was gonna. I can't. Anyway, I know you. When I first got acquainted with you, and then we'll go into kind of your background.
Right.
When I first got acquainted with you, it was when I started kind of thinking about doing the show. I think at the time, 2008, 2009. Didn't you do some kind of original music podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the bedrock and inspiration for what I'm doing now. Wow, you've passed me the torch. Wait, that's burned. Not that. Don't pass me the hot end. Anyway.
That's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, was that? Am I right on that guess?
Yeah,
around the time
I was involved with a couple of different ones. There was one that we did back in let me think about this. It's probably 1996, 1990. Okay. Yeah, it was 1996. I got involved with M4 Radio with Stammer and Bonsai and MacGyver. And they broadcasted a terrestrial radio out of DeLand, I want to say it was. And then went to internet. They did terrestrial and internet at the same time, and then graduated to internet only. Okay. And so I was a guest on the show a few times, and then ended up as part of the crew.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then MacGyver and I spun off from M4 Radio and formed something called Worldwide Radio Renaissance, which was WWRR, and that was 1997, probably through 1999 or so.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so, it's like, those used to be trees there. But that's kind of the purpose and the little term that we've come up. You've been doing this for 20 plus years. You're still successfully doing it. This is the admiration of somebody who's doing what they're good at and what they love, and that's the passion, and they're making a living and they're going. And so anyway, so give us a peel back, Bing. Do you like people who call you Bing?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's weird for me to call you Bing. What's the origin of that name?
Oh Lordy. Well, I think people know this, but my real name is Michael.
Okay.
And I was working at Universal Studios Hollywood, and during tour guide training, this is 1989, during tour guide training, this guy from Australia kept calling me Bing, and I don't know why. I have no idea. We hadn't even become tour guides yet, but he starts going, "Hey, Bing, good on you, Bing. Hey, you're Bing Crosby." I'm like, "Why are you saying that?" I have no idea. But there were a bunch of Michaels, and unfortunately, Ian, who was a really cool guy, did not make the cut, but and I did. And we had about 3 or 4 different Michaels, and there was a little hot box of a room that all the tour guides sat in waiting to take the trams out to the back, and they would call Michael Tram on the right. And so all of us would run into the dispatch office going, well, which one do you mean? So to get rid of all that confusion, I said, you know what? This guy called me Bing during the training, so let's go ahead and go with that.
Yeah, let me,
And I'll never forget, and he might be listening tonight, Dan Farmer was the dispatcher. He went, okay, Bing, tram on the right. And because they marked them in a log there, that's how they paid you. And my first paycheck from Universal Studios Hollywood came as Bing Futch, which in California is a legal name change.
Wow.
So I went,
that's pretty slick. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm sticking. They may have changed the rules since then. They were like, this guy slipped through the radar.
Well, that's remarkable, and that's a cool kind of insight into the actual name. Then
oh, absolutely, it's a Genesis.
Because I was like, where? Yeah, I was like, where do you get that? And when people are thinking about particular kind of music, my wife down there was like, who's coming over? And I was like, Bing Futch, and I played the music. She's like, wow, he's really good. And she's like, this stuff she's like, oh, it's meditative, and you could exercise to it, do yoga. And I'm like, wow, yeah, you could. So the point of that is that you also do blues style music, right? And I love all that, and I want to get into all that because I think that's some of the newer stuff now. That you're going to be releasing, or you have released, and then the ditty-tv I want to get to as well. But let's go back 90. When were you first how'd you first get into kind of being known as playing the dulcimer?
I don't think that really happened until 1999 when Mojave was formed, and that was a tie between the internet radio, MacGyver, who was with M4 Radio and then worked with me as my engineer for WWRR, play drums. And his brother said, he's a really good drummer, and if you're putting a band together, you should talk to him. And I had never thought about it. Always saw the drum kit sitting there. So him and then Mike Burney on bass guitar, we formed Mojave in 1999, and our first show was at the House of Blues during one of David Schweitzer's living room jams.
Nice.
And I was supposed to play it solo, and at the last minute, I came up to David backstage and said, David, I know I'm supposed to be doing this solo, but I got a band now. Can we go up there? He's like, go ahead. And David's an awesome guy. So we got up there, and our first show was at the House of Blues in 1999. That was August. And we had quite a great run. So people all of a sudden were like, okay, there's this guy, and we know who he is, but we have no idea what he's playing.
Right, like what's going on? How's he doing it? Yeah, it's an amazing instrument. And when you understand, and you may know people in the same, Rick DeAmpert.
Name
the
sounds
sitar
familiar.
player.
Okay, yeah.
From Daytona Beach.
Right.
He also does the news show. Anyway, he's another guy that is dedicated to a particular instrument. Do you find it hard to say, "Hey, I'm not just this, and I also do this"? Is that kind of where you're at now, or where was that something that I see you go out on tour? You go from place to place. You've got a beautiful Rita, little mobile home. No, it's like a mobile studio home van.
It's a bathroom
Love.
with wheels.
It's a bathroom. Got a little kitchen.
Yeah, kitchen.
Okay, yeah. It's a little home. It's a little.
For the longest time,
studio.
I felt that the mountain dulcimer was really my identity, because it was such an unusual instrument, and a lot of people in the community who get behind the instrument feel very loving and protective towards it.
Like sacred of it almost, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
So I really like to be stepping out and introducing it to different audiences and showing them this part of American musical culture. But probably when I started playing Native American flute, because I come from keyboards
Right.
and other instruments. So at that point, I began to look at the paintbrushes that I was using, and not wanting to stick with one brush, sort of began to branch out a bit more and not only play other instruments, but also really explore different types of music. For a while, I was really focused on old time traditional music and folk.
Okay. So like like the bluegrass type of sound, or
or
even further back, maybe.
Well, akin to bluegrass and old time. The fiddle tunes, they all have roots in Celtic music and music that came across with the settlers to this country. And I love it. I mean, roots music, Americana, that's what it is. It's the folk music of the people, and it's fascinating stuff. But I think a lot of people, when they think of folk music, they think of, Peter, Paul, and Mary, which is folk indeed, but just that type of folk. But they don't think about, traditional Iranian music and German music and all these different types of things.
Folk too. Folk is indigenous. I guess it's indigenous folk. There you go. We've just created something. I don't know what. So in your childhood, did you kind of know, or were you always musical then when you were younger?
Yeah, I was, and I knew I always wanted to be a performer and a musician. And I got started, and my father was a music major, and so there was a great diversity of music in the house. And the radio always had something interesting, not just pop stuff, but he'd go to classical, he'd go to jazz, and so I had all these influences
giving you good,
bubbling in my head, But I was a band kid. I played clarinet in middle school and high school, and that was it. I taught myself how to play piano in sophomore year of high school.
Wow,
that opened things up. More than one note at a time.
Yeah, that's incredible.
The possibilities.
Savant alert. Yeah. Well, that's incredible. What so kind of coming up there, then you said I like this form of expression, because really, I mean, with his, like you said earlier, I think in the conversation, something about paintbrushes, and it's exactly right. I mean, as a musician, you're kind of that same art mannerism of using different instruments as a brush or with a finer point or whatever. How many instruments do you play in total?
Can actually play or is making the honest college try. I play mountain dulcimer. I play Native American flute. I play keyboards. I just started playing guitar about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, well, that's crazy. What the hell? Well, that's kind of sporadic. Where did that happen? Out of what? So, what's the story behind the guitar?
It's been a long time coming. On the run-up, I competed in the International Blues Challenge in January. Yeah, which was
the blues guitar.
No, on dulcimer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I was like, wow, well, that's the heck of a first try.
No.
Okay. All right. Oh, yes. Don't get too excited.
It was me playing mountain dulcimer was a fantastic experience because mountain dulcimers are an odd, unusual,
Right.
obscure instrument. And so I think only in the history of the International Blues Challenge, I think only 2 people have competed on mountain dulcimer, and I'm one of them.
Wow.
And only one of them has made it to the semifinals, and I was that person. So it was an amazing experience. But on the run-up to that, I was trying to really dig into the culture of the blues and some of the, I thought about the emotion of it, sure, but I wanted to get into the technical aspects of it. And so I'm watching the fingers of all these old hill country blues guys, Mississippi Fred McDowell and Booker White. And I couldn't understand what they were doing because I don't play guitar. And so trying to translate that over to an instrument that doesn't have as many strings, the dulcimer has 3 strings versus 6.
Okay.
It's got a 7-note scale versus a 12-note scale. So trying to reverse engineer this stuff without knowing anything about the guitar was like trying to stare at it through
That's
a
something
telescope.
you've been thinking about doing for quite a long time. Then,
Yeah.
and it kind of, why now? Is it kind of just now, kind of saying, "Hey, I've got this little bit of extra time to really kind of perfect it." And I guess that's the thing that makes it kind of legendary, is that you're on your own course. Right?
You have to.
I get. So you're okay. So you're doing the guitar, and that's cool. And from that's coming kind of some blues, real bluesy sounding stuff, right?
Well,
I heard the other day. I don't know.
Believe it or not, the mountain dulcimer is perfectly capable of delivering a really awesome.
So the
traditional
bluesy
blues sound.
stuff I heard recently was you on the dulcimer
on
and
the
singing.
mountain dulcimer, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's an impressive way to express oneself, and it's definitely one of the great things that our local legend interview does. And we're speaking with Bing Futch. He is an amazing musician. He's taken actually a great hold of the human language and being able to express what's important. Let's talk about that a little bit. It's ditty.tv. So ditty.tv. And you've got a little show on there. They approached you, or it's kind of, I guess, give us a rundown of maybe the hosting and the side stuff now that you're doing with the audio video. I think that's fantastic.
Well, the correlation between the International Blues Challenge and ditty-tv was when I went up there to Memphis. Right before I got to Memphis, I received an email from some of the folks, the producers over at ditty-tv, and said, "Hey, we know you're coming up here to compete in the International Blues Challenge. Would you like to come in and do a live 30-minute set that we'll broadcast from our studios here in Memphis?"
Right.
And while you're there, you're just you're just trying to
make sure it's
maximize
not from a Nigerian prince. First thing,
exactly.
You're like, is this real?
Let me check the email. I wanted to make sure, that I maximized my time up there as much as possible, and exposure and everything else. So I signed up for a slot on, I believe it was Thursday morning, which was the first day of competition.
Okay.
Was that evening.
Oh, so they were taking auditions of people in kind of this competition manner? Is that what it was?
No, the competition was you were there to...
the blues competition. I'm getting mixed up. I'm sorry.
No,
What
they
was
basically, I guess they looked at a list of people who had been accepted and then extended an invitation to come out and do a live concert set.
Wow.
And so I went down there Thursday morning and did this 30-minute set, and I walk into the place and I just went, oh my gosh, because on the outside it's this kind of nondescript Memphis row house, but you walk inside and it was like walking into frickin' CNN, man.
Really?
I mean, just monitors and dolly tracks and everything. And I went, these guys are serious.
Camera robots and stuff.
Oh my gosh. It was incredible.
Wow. That's
and
fantastic.
just super professional.
Yeah.
And had a great show and talked to them a little bit about what they were doing. And I actually... they sent me the audio from my set, and it sounded amazing. And the guy who did the audio for them apparently works with a whole bunch of real big names in the music biz, mixing sound for them and everything. Wow. I said, I'd love to do a live from ditty-tv CD based on the audio you guys have got. It'd be a great branding opportunity for you and for me. And they really liked it, and they said, well, we'd like to talk to you about something else too. We're looking for some VJs for a show we're doing.
Wow.
And we have a show in mind, and we think you'd be a perfect fit for it. So are you interested? So I am now the VJ for the Rhythm Roots show on ditty-tv.
Cool.
It is a fun. They do a fun.
Wow. So what
fun
does that
thing.
show do? So you kind of show videos, or
It's like MTV used to
okay,
be before
okay.
all the game shows and,
Right.
and reality shows.
All
It
right.
is straight up video,
right?
And
you're kind of talking about each one, maybe
Yeah.
the process, the people, the.
Yeah,
That's
and we've
incredible.
got you've got all levels too.
That's
We've got
incredible.
the Lumineers, you got Old Crow Medicine Show, then you've got up and coming artists all sharing space, all with their videos. And it's a really, really awesome thing. And that's just one show. There's a number of shows on ditty-tv, and it's all about Americana roots music. So it's the heart
When
and
does
soul.
it come on? When's the airtime, I guess?
The airtime for Rhythm Roots is there's two shows. When it comes on, it's 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. So it'll show up the first time like on Thursday, and then it'll
Okay.
repeat throughout the week at 2 p.m.
Can
2
you get
a.m.
it like on demand through ditty-tv? Like as
You
just watch
can
it?
if you go to that. I'm
Okay.
trying to think of the website, the URL off the
It
top
probably
of my head.
does it hook up from the main page of ditty.tv.
No, it's ditty-tv.com.
ditty-tv.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm all giving it its own different TV domain. So don't listen to me. Listen to him.
Yeah, ditty-tv.com.
Yeah.
And each show does have its own page that will get you into watching that particular program, whatever that program is. But they do put them into prime time, so to speak, like at 7 p.m. They'll put one of these episodes on. And it's fantastic. And I've done now 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I've done 4 shows.
So
this month.
you kind of go out and get footage and produce kind of segments and send it to them, and they kind of put it all together?
That's right.
Is that right? Kind of how it happens? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So you're just kind of really like field reportering it almost actually for original roots and rhythm and roots.
That's right.
Is that what it's
That's
called?
right.
Rhythm and roots?
Or Rhythm Roots.
Rhythm roots.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. That's fun.
And what's funny is
I don't know why. Maybe if I drink another sip of wine. Hold on. Please continue.
The first time I went up to do something, I figured I'd get some because I'm going on tour next week, so I'll be coming to them from festivals and gigs and stuff like that. But I haven't taken off yet, so I'm like, let's give them something interesting here in Central Florida they can look at. So my first thought, Disney. Let's go to Disney and get some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you what, the first stand up went awesome because I made sure I was just way off in the corner,
Right.
Not being too obvious down by the lake. At downtown Disney. The
Yeah.
second one, I went over by the Contemporary to get some monorail slipping past. And the last shot, you can see like a security guard like behind me. And sure enough, man, they came walking up. They were like, dude, what are you doing?
I thought you were going to say like crowds of people went through your shot. Like they
No.
had just released the monorail.
Oh no, that
into
would have been fine. No, actually, I was detained by Disney security for
Oh, no,
like
that's-
15 minutes.
That's no good.
They thought they said we don't want people. Yeah.
What the hell?
They don't want people. They don't want
That
people
you can't film there.
videotaping the monorails after
Oh.
9/11. It was a
Oh.
big thing, and I said I didn't realize it. I didn't see the sign that said no videotaping.
Right.
The monorail, right? So they were cool. They were like, no problem. Have a nice day. But
Okay.
I was like, yes, I got busted already.
So what? Technically, I guess that's what you'll see. Then
You don't see any
the
of that.
footage
though.
you can see.
The footage you can
will see.
Yeah.
Okay, it's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's so. All right. So in high school, you were musical. Got into college. Got into. You've always kind of been here in Orlando. Where have you lived other places as well? Or
Well, actually, I'm from Los Angeles.
you are?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was born and raised out in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And did all my beginning fledgling musical work out there. Had a band in 1986 called Crazed Bunnies with my friends Sean Harrison and Mark Plange and Planche. Sorry, Mark, if you're listening. And that was a big thing, for us because we were 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And all of
Was
a
it
sudden,
kind of like a punk band?
it was a techno punk band.
Techno punk. Okay.
Yeah,
I knew it
yeah.
had to have some kind of.
Yeah, it was a thrashing band. I played guitar in that band, but I had no idea what I was doing.
Okay.
And
So
we
what were you
just
doing? You're just kind of jamming away, just chords.
Power chords, man.
Okay.
That's it. Just power chords.
Just chords.
Yeah,
Cool.
but it was at the time. It was a contemporary Christian band, and that was really blowing up back
Yeah.
in that time frame, 1985 through 1988.
Striper.
was big time. Striper,
Wow.
big time, man, big time. And we got picked up and swirled up in that
Okay.
scene. All of a sudden, they started writing articles about us, and we were on the covers of magazines in this underground, contemporary Christian music scene. So that was my introduction to the music biz.
And when that was 90-ish?
That was 86.
80-ish, 6-ish.
Yeah, mid-80s.
Wow. So did you actually meet any of those guys, Stryper?
Absolutely, man.
You did?
I worked at Knott's Berry Farm for a long time. I worked in theme parks for 10 years. And
Wow.
And when I wasn't working on the Christian nights, I would go backstage, because I could walk into the park without, having to show any ID.
Right.
And I would offer myself up as a roadie, community roadie. And so I roadied for Brian Duncan and
Dang.
Sweet Comfort and
That's smart.
Crumbacher and
Wow.
Daryl Mansfield and all
incredible.
these cool cats,
Did that? What kind of effect do you think that was? Was that good for you? I guess to kind of see all the varied, performers in scenarios, and you knew you liked it and you loved it, even just to be that part of it. I guess.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting.
It was nice to see them as people. It was nice to see the backstage operations of how it all went, and it really just kind of whetted my appetite for bigger stuff.
Right.
That kind of gear and that
More
kind of
theatrical,
exposure
right.
and all that stuff. So it was a great experience, and everybody I met was just absolutely wonderful. Just sweet people.
Yeah. And so that was okay. 80s to 90s now.
Yeah, that probably went all the way up until 88, 89, and then we started getting in trouble.
Okay.
Because we were we were kind of edgy. The band changed lineup, and we had an album that came out in 1988 called Blutgas.
What's that mean?
It means Blood Street.
Okay.
And there's a song on there that drops the F-bomb.
Oh.
And a lot of people were really upset with us at that point. So
Yeah.
I began to get kind of
Interesting.
disconcerted with the whole Christian music scene because it was very, very tight. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to explore some other emotions, some other avenues. And so I released an album in 89 called Fantasy Amidst the Storm, and that was sort of my step into the secular world.
And this was a solo album?
It was a solo album.
Okay.
And it didn't do very well.
And you would sing and play?
Sang, and mainly it was a lot of keyboards and a little mountain dulcimer. The mountain dulcimer began to creep into things at that point. I started playing mountain dulcimer in 1986 while working at Knott's Berry Farm, but didn't know what to do with it because I came from keyboards mainly. That was my main tool of expression. And then along comes this instrument that is awesome and rootsy.
Is
and
it something
rustic.
that you think really speaks to everybody? I mean, I'm sure you would tell somebody, "Oh, it's easy," you kind of get, from your perspective. But I guess is it being an older instrument? Is it more primal in some kind of way? Maybe.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and it is easy. It is a really easy instrument to play.
Yeah.
I tour across the country and teach at workshops and festivals.
Oh, wow.
And people who have wanted to play music all their lives who have not found that instrument or found other instruments too challenging can get into the mountain dulcimer and find this nice instant gratification with an instrument that they can sit down and begin playing immediately. So it is easy for one, but that primal thing you talked about, yeah, man,
Right.
The drone of the instrument, it was traditionally played on just one of the three strings. You fretted that string for your melody, but the other two strings droned like the drones of a bagpipe.
Kind of quivered and hovered.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's something about
Yeah.
that sound that, that's the sound that first got me when I was walking through Ghost Town one day, and I thought, what on earth is
Phoenix?
that?
Is the song Phoenix that you sent to us? Is that a good example?
No, actually, what I'm doing with Phoenix is I'm playing I'm playing it more in the style of a guitar. I'm closing the chords, and there's not a lot of drone in there. That's actually a showcase for the Native American flute. There might be some drone on 24/7, if I recall.
I got 2014 here.
2014, that's right.
Okay.
I'm not sure. That was a one-off. That's never been released. I'm trying to remember how that song even goes.
Here's a little sample of Bing Futch. And I guess I'll leave our mics on if you want to explain it, but I like to listen to it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not the traditional style. That's my
So this is kind of your abstract stuff, just you're releasing, pushing something out.
Yeah, you know.
This should I not be playing this?
No, you can play this. This is great, like background chill music.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Ray Lynch, who is considered a new age artist, even though he's got classical leanings and that type of thing. But Ray Lynch had an album that came out in the 80s called Deep Breakfast, and it just an amazing piece of music.
Deep Breakfast.
I think I've got his name right, Ray Lynch. And the album is filled with stuff like that, just sort of spacey and.
Right.
You know, I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
just love it.
I like it. Well,
this is not traditional. You play this
we'll
at a
talk
folk
with
festival.
It, and we'll just kind of let it go in.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Let it be free during the conversation.
You play this at a folk festival,
please,
and a lot of people will
everyone,
look at you weird.
Relax. And relax. And take deep breaths.
You need a candle.
Yeah.
You need a candle and a glass of wine.
That's right. I got the wine. Hold on.
A little bubble bath.
Cheers. Well, you're an amazing artist.
Thank you.
You know, your whole trek from beginning, and maybe go a little bit into that radio experience. So you've had obviously radio experience, and you were doing that podcast that was on internet radio, and it was also pushed out to terrestrial as well. Or?
No, M4 radio was terrestrial that then went sent to internet.
Oh, okay.
And then
are they still around? M4?
You know, I don't know. Huh. Every once in a while, I go look them up. Stammer and Bonsai, and it was m4radio.com. And that was my first introduction to, radio station automation with the internet, and it was a great
And so when was
situation.
that? That was 2000 and something?
That was 96.
Okay. So you did that for about 10 years then? Or
Gosh,
more?
I think I did. Because after that was WWRR, which was 97, 98, and then after that I did oh man, it was the one I did. All Florida Indies, AFI Radio.
Cool.
And that one went on for quite some time.
Yeah.
And you can
All
still
Florida
find them online. AFI Radio, yeah.
AFI. Wow.
And that
that's a bit of history right there. Because I didn't know. That sounds familiar though, and I remember. What was it? The Drop Shop, I guess, where it was right. There was a record store, kind of a radio. They did a broadcast out of there, and it was up by the Milk District. I think it's empty now, but still, I always thought that's worth something. I think it fills. And now even more so. I mean, content is important.
It is.
Finding out about people beyond. Just how do you do, sir? How do you do?
Right.
Right. And so getting a little bit deeper, and that's what we're doing. You're listening to WJBWnetworks.com. It's WJBW Local Legends series with Bing Futch, and I'm so happy to have him in studio. It's remarkable. Let me get back here and concentrate on what I'm doing. Okay, we're all coming through good. So, where should people go? Where do you put out a lot of music? Your music, I think, is everywhere. iTunes, Bandcamp. Reverb Nation, Bandcamp.
Reverb Nation, CD Baby, Amazon. All those digital distribution retailers. You can find all that stuff that goes through CD Baby. And one thing before I forget about it, the internet radio stuff that I was doing came out of my days when I was writing for Jam Magazine. You remember Jam?
Oh, I do remember Jam Magazine.
Jam Magazine.
Wow.
I mean, I started off as a reviewer for Jam Magazine, and then ended up as the features article writer, and then I had the back column.
Oh, that's incredible.
Back page column called Starvin'. And Jam was an amazing thing, and I was so sad to see it go because it was a statewide magazine. So Florida had this big identity of independent artists who were all in it.
When did that go down? When?
I think it
must have been 2000s or something like that.
I think it was like
it was
99.
Y2K. Damn Y2K.
Right? It was like 99. I think was because Creative Loafing came in and bought the magazine.
Interesting. Okay.
And they told us that it was going to be we're going to expand it.
We're going to breathe new life into this.
Yeah, and instead they killed it.
Oh,
they killed it. So I think 99 might have been 99 2000 might have been the last of Jam Magazine.
Yeah,
but it was great because the magazine was the same across the state, but every single
you got
major
so much
city,
of just where other than where you were.
Well, yeah,
which
every
before
place.
internet, it was so important, right? I mean,
Yeah, like Miami had a bureau, Orlando had a bureau,
Right.
so you had a local section for your classifieds and stuff like that. But it was a great thing for the identity of Floridian musicians.
Floridian. Yeah, because when you look at it, being a big attraction state, there have to be a lot of people that attract the attractions and attracting light reflectors.
There's a great music scene.
You've got to be
types.
entertaining. So,
Yeah.
when you get that all together, it's the recipe for, hey, those entertainers have to be able to have guidelines and ways to grow and
That's
a
right.
code of ethics, if you will.
And they need people who are going to shine a spotlight on them. So when Jam went away,
you're right.
WWRR and AFI Radio was a way of, because I still had all these CDs from my reviewing days, so I could give them spins and then let them know, hey, send me your CDs and I'll play them.
Yeah, and I remember seeing back again, and I think I mentioned this when I was going, through the whole thing. I had just come off of a radio show that was a political talk show that I was like, I don't want to talk about that. So I was very silly and probably rude and just a bad fit for that. And then I was like, hey, you know what? I've got all the technology, and that was in like 2009. I could do it all myself. And I researched and saw who was doing that. I saw your name, and I saw it associated with something with original music. So the fact that, again, you're associated with us in that regard, and I'll take it. He's passing me the torch. I'm making him pass me the torch. Don't make me pass me the torch.
And
Anyway.
that's great that you picked up and the torch and ran
Well,
with it,
I think
the baton,
Well, and that's what I think is important for anybody kind of doing anything now. They have to venerate, everything that there was before in order to have any kind of sense of placement or history or accomplishment. And it's not in a competitive way at all. It's more of just a, wow. And even doing what you did without all the technology. Again, how did that work for the radio? Would you just kind of record audio bits? Why do you laugh? It was crazy, I bet, right? Back in the...
I'm trying to
How did
even
you do
think
that?
how we did WWRR. I think I used the software program Acid.
Okay.
And cut and pasted stuff together, so it wasn't live like you're doing it here.
Right. Okay.
You
kind of send them, little batches. Here you go. Here you go. Okay, and they just kind of put it together, kind of like the ditty-tv.
Right.
Kind of now you go out and get little segments and okay, so cool.
But it was all done in studio. I would record the intro and then
Right.
play the tunes and then come back and back announce. M4 had a situation like you've got here,
Okay, they
which
have
was
some
awesome.
kind of...
Yeah, and they had an automation thing with shows that would rerun and drop in ads,
Right.
at 22 and 32 and stuff like that.
Right.
It was a great thing. I could never afford that. No. I could never afford the software.
Yeah, well, I'm very thankful for the console, the native console through Spreaker.com is what we use to broadcast. It's a web console, and of course we've got a board hooked up into everything. And don't forget about, and you can't help but move, that guy. And so there you go. Got a little iPad plugged into there over there. Hold on. Check 1 2. Hello. Okay, sorry, I was just making sure that mic. So I got another little studio mic there. Hey, what's up, booty?
Ah, nice.
Deeper, so.
You're a washing mic. So it's like I count 6 right now.
Yeah, these are all off. But so we've got a seat over there. We've got people in case somebody, fourth person comes in. But we do Grits and Gravy, a podcast with Bubba Bass Wilson and Vic Clevenger. So it's like a Southern comedy. So we do that out of here. We do the Circadian Cast out of here. We do the JB Web Show out of here. And we used to do it's still out there, though. I don't know, Talk Show Gangbang. But we're trying to do as much as we can in studio, out of the studio. This is my home studio. Hey, what's up? Welcome, everyone. How are you doing?
Nice.
Question.
We had so much fun with WWRR bringing people in the studio.
Yeah.
We had Amy Steinberg and Michelle Lane. And
Michelle Lane from...
she lives in California. She's in Los Angeles now, but she was just she was performing as Echo Deluxe, I believe.
There was so much. I think, and I spoke with somebody else about this, but Orlando kind of music scene was rich. Was kind of very rich, unexpectedly rich in the 90s.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff kind of claiming, "Oh, this is where we're coming from."
It was an amazing time to be an up and coming artist. I started performing in 1998 after I'd done all the writing for all the different magazines and doing the radio shows. I actually was performing as a solo act called Bing's Not Dead with a keyboard and backing tracks.
Okay.
And at the old Java Jabbers out there on University Boulevard. It's not there anymore.
Okay.
They just tore the building down. And it was an amazing time to be here because you got established acts who had been around for a long time, like Big Shirley and Princeton's
Big
Guff,
Shirley.
and all these great guys and girls playing music.
Yeah.
And then you had up and coming people. I remember going to the open mics with Amy Steinberg, who was doing open mics.
Yeah.
And look at her now, man, just taking off. So it was an amazing time. People were getting signed. Steve Burry with My Friend Steve,
Right.
And Von Ray was just starting to
Von
blow up.
Ray, wow, I haven't heard that in a long time. Blue Meridian.
I remember,
yeah. Yeah, wow.
Cluj. I mean, I could
there you
go
go.
on
We
and
had
on.
Dave and Steve both in studio. Yeah, so it was very. Yeah, there was a feeling, there was a vibe here.
It was
And
exciting. It was like any
exciting.
moment you could be next to get signed, and then somewhere at some point, whoever was paying attention to Orlando turned their back.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of things happened. There's still a great scene. There's still a lot of good stuff going on out there, but
Yeah,
it's
of
not
course.
like it was 96 to like 2002, 2003.
And you're exactly right. And for this reason alone, we're going to break in the local legend interview for a second, and I want to plug something. I want to talk about something. It's actually coming up in a couple of days. It's Thursday night out at City Arts Factory. There will be an art installment, a photo installment from Mr. Jim Leatherman of 20 years of his photography. He did mostly musicians. It was backstage for every kind of event or anywhere. So they're actually doing that the first time. I wanted to talk about a little bit. I don't want to abruptly call him. My friend Jeff Sweat said, "Here, guys, set this up." So maybe the next time when his show is going on. But it kicks off, I think it's for 15 days from the 16th of April to the 15th of May. City Arts Factory, Jim Leatherman show. So go check that out. And And meanwhile, more talented people are still here. Are your feet dry? No, I'm just kidding. I thought I'd freak you out. I was going to do commercial for Sunshine. That's our sponsor is Sunshine here on the JB Web Show. Don't get too much of it out there. Be very careful with it. But please enjoy Sunshine. I did charge you for Sunshine. I don't know.
That's next.
Oh my gosh.
They're charging for air. Come on. Sunshine is next. The sunshine tax.
Once they started with the water, it was like, uh-oh, slippery slope. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Well, in studio with local legend, we are dubbing him and I guess everybody, what I'm going to do at some point is send everybody a T-shirt or a mug or a wrist bracelet or I don't know. I'm going to send you something soon. As soon as we figure it out what we're going to send everybody. For being a local legend, our little independent production created this monumentous, wonderful, grandiose title for someone that's been plugging away for 20 years in art, music, activism, radio, whatever it may be. But it made an impact in our community, and that's Bing Futch is our subject this installment. So I'm happy to have him here in studio. I appreciate you coming out and doing this.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Big ups to you. I have no caller plan for later in the show. We can break news a little bit later. We can break news badly. I mean, a little bit later if you like, before the end. And then we can close on some music I preloaded in here. But what are your aspirations? You've been doing this and have been rocking, really kind of at the epicenter of a lot of cool stuff here for the last 20, 30 years. Where do you see it going? What are your personal goals? What do you want to get to with everything that you're doing? What will your ideal scenario? Right? It's like, what's your... Okay. And I've got 12 maids and no. They're all sexy maids of different nationalities. No, I'm just kidding. He's married. I just got him in trouble. Thanks, producer. Shut up over there. Hey, keep it down. Oh, me shut up. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, me shut up. I'm an idiot. Anyway, imaginary producer, thank you once again for bailing me out.
I need one of those.
Yeah, I've got one. If you just, anyway.
You rent those out?
Yeah, it's implanted into my brain. I've got this little chip. Anyway, I'm joking. seriously though, what would be your ideal scenario? Where would you like to kind of see your future going? What would be your optimal? Is it being known for the dulcimer, or is it kind of doing something new, maybe unknown? I mean, it's a silly question, I guess, but based on knowing on the limited knowledge we have in the present moment,
right?
Ideally,
the mountain dulcimer for me is another tool in the toolbox. It is my favorite tool. It's my go-to for everything just about that I do.
Yeah.
Because it's acoustic, and it's roots.
You're known for that as well.
Yeah, I'm known for it, but at the same time, the reason Mojave came about in the first place was because I had been doing all this keyboard stuff and all this, sequencing and whatever, and I said, when the power goes out, none of that stuff is worth anything, but you can always pick up a wooden instrument and slap some strings on there. It's very organic. You could take it to the middle of a football field and play it without extension cords. I want to get down barefoot in the dirt and do something that goes back to how we started making music. And so it's been full circle around because, on my most recent album, which is coming out April 22nd on Earth Day, it's called Sweet River. It's a Native American flute record. But I do a lot of synthesizer stuff to back up the Native American flutes, and that was a lot of fun to get back to because I was a big synth geek back in the 80s, But I think my heart and soul is really about being acoustic in nature and being able to make music wherever you go for whoever that you would like.
Right. Right.
And so that's kind of my focus. And so, but I'd like to be able to do. To be known more for just being a chameleon, a musical chameleon.
What's the history of the dulcimer? You must be well acquainted with the history of it, which I'm a history buff. I love stuff that's all the stuff they did, like the History Channel, the Vikings, and all these Game of Thrones, and that's fictional history. It's like it's not even real history. What is the Game of Thrones? Anyway, I'm hooked on all that kind of stuff. But
the dulcimer's got some really interesting links that are missing in the story chain, but it basically came about 275 years ago when settlers from Europe came over and settled here. Either they could not bring their instruments with them or they got broken in transit. So we're talking about people from Germany and the Scheitholt, or Norway and the Langelank.
It's a total makeshift.
Well, it's an American instrument, but it was created from basically their memories of instruments that pre-existed before they came to the New World.
Okay.
So it's it's an unusual instrument in that it's what we call a diatonic instrument. It's got a 7-note scale. The white keys on the piano only, no black keys. Oh. Now, over the years, we've added little notes here and there to make it more like a guitar or a banjo or a mandolin.
What are they, little hammers, or what it goes? How does it hit?
Well, there are two different types of dulcimers. There's an old school dulcimer, which is just called a hammered dulcimer, or people will call it just dulcimer.
Maybe that's
shaped
the one
like
I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're thinking it's shaped like a trapezoid, and you play it with sticks,
right?
And you bounce them off. And that one dates way, way back.
Wow.
The mountain dulcimer is a young instrument. It's a new kid on the scene, and so it's only been around for about 250, 300
like
years.
as old as America, kind of.
Yeah. So it's young like the rest of us.
Listen, you dulcimer, you're all dulcimerians now. Anyway,
or Dulcimericans.
Dulcimericans.
That's right.
I'm Dulcimerican. Wow. So that's cool. So you really kind of said, I love this instrument. I love the feel of it, the sound of it. And I like what you do with it in many interpretations. Again, that when I heard that blues track and I'm like, that was you and playing the mountain dulcimer.
Yeah.
See, and that's what blew me away. I wish I had that queued up right now, but I don't. I have, is it Bing Futch .com?
Yes.
Is that functioning and active? And also ditty-tv.com. Yeah. And he's on Reverb Nation. I think he's got stuff for sale out there on iTunes or what have you. But you're an inspiration. You're a community builder. You're a bond that we need. And I thank you again so much for coming live in studio to hang out and talk with me.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
I just I appreciate you doing that the most. Means a lot to me. I appreciate it.
Well, I love what you're doing, and you're keeping the flame alive, by doing this sort of thing, and that's what we need. We need a support group, a support network for independent artists. And
and we are your voice. And let me see. Give me a real quick here. I'll use this later. I'll pull it off. So give me a commercial for the Circadian Cast. Send us your original music. Hey, I'm Bing Futch. Like they used to do.
Right.
Hey, I'm Bing Futch. Send your original music to the Circadian Cast. Just simple.
Like that? Okay.
Yeah, something simple like that.
Hello there. This is Bing Futch. Send your music to the Circadian Cast.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Very good.
You like that? I was going down and I was going into my what is that?
Very good.
In a world voice.
In a world. Yeah, you do that good. The Pablo. Yeah, that's fantastic. You can do that good. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Do you have fun? Do you like to do voices? Maybe that's your new thing, voice acting too. Maybe that's your thing. You ever do it or want to do that or think about that?
I've thought about doing it, but it's kind of like getting guitar late.
Yeah.
I'm 48 and getting into the game knowing that there's always going to be somebody better than you.
Yeah.
And there's a wonderful friend of mine, Christy Sproul, who has voicechasers.org, and she's spent a good portion of her life archiving different voice actors and so forth. And
Wow.
I love them to death, and I know it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And you're good at it. You're really good at doing the
thank
voices
you, sir.
thing.
I just need to just keep talking. That's all I know. I just need to keep talking. I love talking with people and finding out about people and learning about them. And this is kind of my awkward way to, make sure that, hey, it's, it's you, it's me, it's a studio. It's welcome to it. WJBWnetworks.com, off the cuff, original. That's how we do it. It's just welcome, and we're chatting.
Yeah,
we're chatting. And then I
good
freak
stuff.
out. Yeah, and then I press these buttons. Wait, what am I trying to find here? Tell me what you think of this song real quick. Horrible, right? Anyway, this is a song a friend and I made. We recently saw a friend of ours. My wife and I came over for dinner and everything, and we pulled out like all the old stuff that we used to do and record. See, and that's kind of how you get. It reminds me of memories of my little brother. That's how we always used to pretend with the tape recorder and all that stuff back in the day. And that's we're all probably of the generation of people that understand that. So now that we have the internet, we have everything, fantastic. People can chat with us live. They could call us if they wanted. I'm not going to give the number, but it's 407-379-9529. You can call if you like, and if you have a question for Bing. Otherwise, I want to thank you, sir. Will you stick around and do some horrible news with me?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Fantastic.
I remember the days of doing horrible news with M4.
Well, great. Well, hang tight. We're going to do it. And now, breaking news badly. Yes. Hashtag breaking news badly. It's our little feature here on the JB Web Show. I just pulled one story that I thought was ridiculous. It is from WFTV.com.
Hey, but just let you know.
All right, and Mr. Stansel, let me say this, because your rights were played over the loudspeaker in the back, and one of the rights you have is the right to remain silent, but should you choose to do so, you're entitled to speak here today.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there, because this guy's got a face tattoo. Apparently, they caught this guy in somewhere in Volusia County, Daytona Beach. Channel 9's Blaine Tullison has more on this accused murderer's startling admission in court today. So it's 20 seconds. I will play the other half.
All right, I just want you to know, I rated one last child molester from the earth, my little brother. All right, that's all I got to say. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Mr. Stansel.
I rated one less expletive child molester from the expletive earth, that expletive with my little brother. So whatever happened, this guy with the face tattoo killed somebody.
Yeah.
And so they got him now. And anyway, I just don't, I don't know. I guess it gives, I don't want to make fun of something like that, but to me, it's just like, where do you get you get the face tattoo and that's the first bad decision, I guess. Maybe
there may have been a lot more.
How could you ever think
one.
of doing something wrong with a face tattoo, though? I'm sorry, and I don't want to offend anyone in our audience, but if you do, I mean, that's such a distinguishing mark, right?
Right.
It's almost having a little Eiffel Tower on your head all the time.
he probably couldn't have foreseen that he was going to find himself in a situation. Well, I don't know. I don't know the guy. Whenever I think of stories like this, I think about that phrase, Florida forgot to take its medication again.
Yeah.
Because it seems like most of the weird news in the country.
Isn't that horrible that we're known for that?
Yeah. What is up with that?
I don't know. It's sad of Florida, though. But listen, I want to kind of segue from breaking news into crazy stories on the road. You're a musician. There's one thing I found out is that musicians have some of the craziest stories. So, what to think about it for a moment? I guess just think about it for a moment, and I'll go over to the other little piece here that I have, which again is to remind you that on the 16th of April, that's to Thursday night, just in 2 nights, Jim Leatherman opening at City Arts Factory, his first photog show, Fandango. Go check that out, and it will be there for until May 15th. Yeah, is that right? Okay, good. That is right. We have a phone line open if you'd like to call, 407-379-9529. I am JB Webb. We're hanging out in studio with Bing Futch.
Yeah.
Just, doing a little tiny touch of news. And I just posed a question here, just off the cuff. I want to see what he gives us back. It's a crazy on-the-road musician stories. I almost need an intro for this. Crazy on-the-road musician stories. I don't know.
You need to make one.
I need to make something. Yeah, no, I don't have it.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you. And so I need to do that. And I will. So it's crazy musician stories. Give us a crazy story from the road. You've been traveling back and forth doing music. Maybe, something ridiculous that you're able to share. Nothing to nothing to whatever, blue or what have you, or whatever. Share whatever's not going to be so embarrassing. Maybe for somebody else that will never be identified. Maybe. But.
Well, I have matured awfully well in the past 20 years, and when I go on the road, I'm a very responsible guy. I'm driving a 22-foot-long RV, and there aren't a lot of crazy stories that involve anything like that. But I can think back on one that actually did happen when I was a journalist traveling with Big Shirley.
Okay.
They had just opened for Rick James at the House of Blues and put forth the invitation to come on with us on the road and see how we live. And so we went up to South Carolina and Georgia, and I rode with the Big Shirley crew. And so here's my crazy story, and this is not incriminating of anybody out who's listening out there.
All right, okay.
It's a 14-passenger van. There's like 18 guys in the band. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but 2 of the guys had to sleep in the back. This is a really packed out van.
Right.
So there is no laying down. And I'm in the bench seat right behind the driver's seat and the passenger seat.
Okay.
And it's been on the road for a long time. We partied the night before. I'm tired, so my head's back and I'm snoring.
Yeah.
And I'm catching disease big time.
Okay.
All of a sudden, this earth-shattering scream, death-defying, just shriek, blood-curdling thing, and the van swerves, and I shoot bolt right up and go, "What the?" And they all go,
"What?"
And they go, "It's happened to every single person in this van, and now it's happened to you too. You're a member of the club."
What happened?
They
jacked
just
with the
messing
van
with me.
like we're out there shaking it or something?
No,
or?
We were driving. No, we
Okay.
were on the road.
Oh, so
down
they were
the road.
a real time jacking with you.
Yeah,
That's
so
dangerous.
it was like,
Oh my God. So
like,
now you were
like
in.
we were about to get hit by a truck.
It's like,
or
somebody's
something.
falling asleep. Let's play the little game.
Yeah.
Where we drive erratically for
Oh my gosh.
an indiscriminate amount of time. It's a good decision.
I was like, you guys.
That's ridiculous. Well, I'm glad you survived that. That's crazy.
I could have died
crazy
of a
story.
heart attack. I was
That's
like,
right.
you guys suck.
Yeah. Let's well no, didn't something I don't know if the whole you remember Tracy Morgan got into an accident and was kind of in a van and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Man. But now he comes back and his comedy's like it's like all downer shit, right? It's like you might lose your ability to walk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, when you're out there,
you got to I think problems are like guidelines, right? They're kind of like if you encounter problems, you just got to find a way
You have to.
You know, to move and negotiate around and through them and away from them or to them or, you know, whatever you're into.
You've got to figure it out. When you're on I do about 20,000 miles a year. And when you are on the road that much, you know, the probability of things going awry is greater than if you were only to hit the road a couple hours on the way to work, right? I think it was last year. I was coming through Kentucky, heading towards Nashville, Tennessee. Had my window down because my air conditioning doesn't work, and I'm in the right lane doing 55, and this truck comes blowing past me and gets right by me and hit one of his rear tires just as it gets near my open window, blows.
Oh, man.
So, first of all, the sound is startling, right?
Yeah.
And then but he's blowing past me. He's going faster than I am. So I'm still recovering from the shock, and all of a sudden, that thing began to delaminate, and all of the rubber started flying into my lane, and it was like being in an Indiana Jones movie. I was just swerving back and forth.
And you're driving, Rita.
6,500 pounds of RV, and I'm ducking bits of rubber and flying bits of tire that are coming my way.
That's ridiculous.
And you have to be on alert all the time when you're out there. You want to relax and have a good time, but at the same time, you need to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, it's a serious thing getting from A to B. It's a whole big thing. So you go on the tours, you go out, you go kind of through the country with, and that's predominantly with the Dulcimer kind of a track, right? Or
yes, absolutely.
Okay, and now with the show ditty-tv, where are you taking us there? I love to kind of hear about the direction of what you're doing with that. Let's talk a little bit about the show. It's a show on ditty-tv. It's called
It's called Rhythm Roots.
Rhythm Roots. Thank you.
And really, it's sort of like the show is really about the music and the videos and the artists that are all a part of it. But when the VJ shows up, it's always nice to have something interesting that's going on. Hey, we're here at this festival.
Like a little, indiscriminate factoid or
something fun, because I'm not always going to be able to be someplace really, really interesting. So I might stop over to State Park and say, hey, I'm here at Trough Creek State Park in Pennsylvania, and this next song is this, or I might be at the Florida Folk Festival, or I might be at Six Flags.
Where are you playing? Where are you playing recently? Are you playing somewhere tomorrow night? I think I saw.
Yeah, tomorrow night I'll be at the Homosassa Riverside Resort. Which is Gulf Coast, beautiful resort right there on the Homosassa River. I'll be there from 5 to 9. And then I'll also be at the Seagrass Waterfront Resort on Saturday from 4 to 8. And they're just down the river from each other.
Okay.
Tiki bars.
That sounds beautiful.
Oh, it's a beautiful place.
Wow. I've never been out that way. So it's kind of the Gulf. It's on the Gulf side of Florida.
It's on the Gulf side, and it's
north. It's still north of Tampa.
North of Tampa, say just south of Crystal River.
Okay.
North of Weeki Wachee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just right there in that.
Okay, so it's still kind of it's got that freshwater magic kind of feel.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's like old school Florida. Just not a lot of high rises, and just time starts to kind of slow down when you're there, and just fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it.
Well, that's great. Florida is a beautiful state, and Florida has a bunch of talented people, and I'm grateful and thankful once again. And I want to kind of encourage people to go check out Bing Futch. Don't be afraid. If you're afraid of the name, don't be afraid, Monica. If you're afraid, don't be afraid of the name. Okay, it's not a real. It's a name, but don't be afraid of it. Bing Futch sounds like it could be something like the next Ebola, they could say. Right?
It's onomatopoeia. It's
onomatopoeia.
All about,
yeah, there you go.
It's all comedy, man.
Yeah, you're hitting on everything with that name.
That name is all.
That's a great
comedy.
name, Bing Futch. I'm coming up next. It's Bing Futch.
You could be
Bing Futch. Bing Futch.
You could be Yakuza, maybe. German Yakuza.
Yeah. Well, what's the best way for people to check you out? Is it your website? You're very active on Facebook. You got thousands of followers there. I see thousands of followers. I'm like, he's everywhere. Bing Futch at Twitter. What's your Twitter handle?
Twitter, at Bing Futch.
Okay.
Best way is to go just to bingfutch.com.
Yeah.
And I've got little portholes to go to all the social media.
Yeah,
little links.
Well, I love your stuff. I love your sound. I love what you're doing. I love you have the roots. You are the roots of Orlando music in a way. You're a very unique character. We're proud to have you call you Orlando, and it's a local legend bestowing on Mr. Bing Futch. And go check him out. I say as quickly as possible.
Nice.
Because he's always moving. And so, when's that show come on again?
It's going to be 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. will be the repeats every single day. That's its formal time slot.
Thursdays, 2 p.m.?
Well, actually, every day it's going to repeat.
Okay.
Every new show will come up Thursday, 2 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Thursday's the new release. Okay, so.
Yeah, but sometimes they will move that into prime time.
And they have them archived somewhere, or can you get them?
They are
on
archived,
demand? Okay,
and
cool.
they will be repeated. And like I said, there are 4 shows right now. I just shot stand-ups for 2 more shows right before I came over here, actually. So
wow.
That'll go into production, and the new episode will be out later on this week. 2 new episodes later on this week. Love working with those guys. They've got a great vision, and they're doing wonderful things, not only for established label artists, but also for independents. And we need a lot more of that support.
Do they have some kind of submission format over there yet? Or do they say, hey, send us your stuff? Or do they kind of just go seek it out in different little pockets? Or
I think a lot of it is they seek it out. But because they do have a studio there, they'll have an artist come in there and do a live concert like I did.
Right.
And then they will pick selections out of that and then put it in rotation on. So they're actually producing the video content.
I see, right.
And it is slick.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, it is slick.
They do a good job.
I didn't know what to expect when I got there. Oh, we're going to do a live video show. And
you were telling me, it's all
one
holograms. No.
One camera or something, right? They've got cameras swooping down from the ceiling, and it's a class organization. They do a great job.
And what are those are the people at ditty-tv.com. So they put on several other different productions as well. So that's fantastic. Let me say one thing. If you want to message me or privately, I have tickets to House of Blues Mechanism show May 1st, CD release party for Mechanism Metamorphosis, The Shift. And also don't forget about Jim Leatherman's, his show starting up. And we want to encourage you to go to bingfutch.com or I said Reverb Nation has the best. Seems like that's your whole catalog is there.
I rotate those songs out, so every once in a while you'll go there and I'll take some songs out and put some songs back.
Well, here's
in there.
one I was able to pull. This is Phoenix. We're going to close out with a little bit of that. We're going to thank the local legend here, Bing Futch, for being in studio. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. And, great to be here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And WJBWnetworks.com for all things with the network, all the shows that we do. Follow us there. Look for a live Grits and Gravy event at Bubbaloo's this Friday, and we'll see you the next time. I've been Jb Webb, and trying not to get myself into any kind of trouble, right? Oh, I'm in trouble.
And you can't help but move.
You cannot help but move. I just like that guy's voice for some reason.
Yeah, I like it.
Me too. Me too.
I got.
See you next time.